My name is Tim Cheney, and I was treated for Barrett's esophagus. The procedure at the time, or the things you could do at the time, was to just keep it status quo, not to let it grow into anything worse or anything bad. So Barrett's esophagus is something you can live with, you just don't want it to get any worse. So in 2002, because of a change of insurance, I couldn't go to GIA group anymore. So I had to find another doctor. So I did a little bit of research, found another doctor and went to them. They did an upper scope on me, took biopsies, Barrett's esophagus, status quo, nothing had progressed, everything looked good. Then in 2004, I'd had some changes in my personal life, which required that I had lost my insurance basically. I'd had a business and closed the business. So now I'm buying my own personal insurance. And because of that, it was a pre-existing condition. So I would have to pay for it out of my pocket. So I kind of put that off. You know, nobody wants to spend that kind of money to do that. So at church, in my adult Bible fellowship, a couple had joined and he had said that he worked at GIA. Then he gave me a call one day and said, we're having some clinical trials for a new procedure for Barrett's esophagus. He says you might qualify for that. Might get you a chance to get your scope, and you know that would work out really great for you. Well, went in and one of the doctors did a scope on me, and they gave me a call the next day and asked me and my wife to come in. And so we went in and we sat down, and he said, Tim, he said, you don't qualify for the Barrett's esophagus clinical trials. He says, you have progressed into high-grade dysplasia. And you know, naturally my wife and I were pretty shocked about that, because I was knocking on the door of cancer at that point. With cancer of esophagus, you're literally facing having your esophagus removed. And in doing so, they literally take it out and attach your stomach to your throat. So Vicki and I, my wife and I, went into Dr. Overholt's office, and he sat down and talked with us, and he said, you know, you have progressed somehow. Either the doctor that you went to in 2002 had either missed it himself or his pathology was bad. But you had to have been progressing into dysplasia at that point. And, but he said, I'll tell you what I'd like to do if you're willing to do it, is he said, I'd like to do this new procedure on you on high-grade dysplasia. Evidently the clinical trials were approved by the FDA was for Barrett's, not dysplasia yet, but Dr. Overholt offered to do this. So Dr. Overholt at GIA did the scope on me and went in and applied this barr-x procedure. And it was not bad at all. You know, from a pain standpoint, pain was very tolerable. It really wasn't even pain, I'd call it pressure. And so a couple months later, then I went in to be checked again to make sure that they had gotten it and they'd taken care of. And he said, your esophagus looked all clear. He said there were a couple little spots, and he wanted to biopsy those and just see what they were. So he called me a few days later and he said, it's Barrett's. It's just a couple little spots of Barrett's. He said the high-grade dysplasia is gone. Went in, he cleaned that up, and went back 2 months later, got another scope just to check it out. I was completely healed, back to normal esophagus tissue. I was the first person in the world to have the barr-x procedure for high-grade dysplasia. And that's pretty amazing. Another thing that's kind of funny about it is Dr. Overholt he took several photographs, he said, in there, and he said, you know, he says your esophagus has been seen all over the world because of the new barr-x procedure and because of being high-grade dysplasia. And the fact that you went from high-grade dysplasia to being healed, to completely normal esophagus tissue is, you know, that's quite a blessing. And that barr-x procedure, that halo device, is, you know, the technology that allows that to happen. So, yeah, it's an amazing story, it really is. God is good.